We do an 8-person list.
Yeah.
I don't really know why we landed on 8, but that's just what we've always done. So coming in at number 8, Drew Holiday. This would be the second time, Brew, a team that has been banging on the door, made a conference finals, couldn't get the job done, won the championship immediately upon acquiring him. And I think it makes him a Hall of Famer. I know that the Hall of Fame barrier for entry keeps getting lower, but I think when he also is, you know, as far like your favorite rapper's favorite rapper type of defensive player, and so Drew Holiday at number 8.
I agree.
Number 7, Al Horford. So this is a shocking statistic. Game 2, he passes John Stockton for most playoff games, second most playoff games ever without a championship.
Wow.
Only Karl Malone is ahead of him, and it'll be by at the end of these finals less than 7 games.
Wow.
So he's at 181, Stockton's at 182, Karl's at I think 191 or 193. So if he wins a title, he gets off that list. I don't know what if Hall of Fame for him or not. I mean, just put them all in. All right, number 6, Jaylen Brown. He's never even been in line for club superstar. He does have the biggest contract in NBA history.
Yeah.
He made All-NBA a year ago, but not this year. But if he just won Eastern Conference Finals MVP. If he then wins Finals MVP, remember when we say they've been to 6 and 8 years, that first one, he was there, Tatum was not. And so I just think he is a universally respected player, but not lauded player. Maybe that can change.
Yeah.
Number 5, Joe Max.
Yeah.
I think that he cements himself as the medium and long-term Celtics coach, even though winning a championship has not really given people much job security. But a lot of his idiosyncrasies, if you will, become positives if they win a championship. And there is still, I think, amongst some Celtics fans, a bit of a, gosh darn it, Ime Udoka. Like, if you could have just kept it together, do we lose last year to the Heat? You know, but that goes away then, because Ime's got them in the finals, so that goes away. Number 4, me.
What?
I mean, guys, against all odds, the underdog Chiefs to win a Super Bowl, picked by me. The super underdog, I mean, existential crisis Chiefs to win a Super Bowl, picked by me. In the meantime, in my spare time, became a top 20 draft analyst. Oh my goodness gracious. And to then also have the Mavs when no one else did. I mean, it really is an iconic run. I also think I was America's most accurate political pundit when it came to the midterm 2022. I don't know, check my Twitter. Number 3, Kyrie Irving. 2 weeks ago, Kyrie was having a really nice renaissance. Then it was, is this the best offensive backcourt ever? Now it's, then from there it was, is he the best wingman ever? Now it's, he is the most gifted ever. I assume he's 4 wins away from being in the GOAT conversation. So Kyrie Irving, number 3. Number 2, Jayson Tatum. If they win this championship, America, the next day on First Things First, Kevin Wildes is going to put his resume and Kobe's and LeBron's all alongside each other and be like, guys, I'm just telling you what the facts are. Hey, don't get mad at me. I'm just telling you what the facts are.
Younger than several superstars.
Yes, there it is. Yeah,
26 years old.
But as far as Finals MVP he would be, if they assuming he gets in to be way younger than Kobe, it'd be a lot of things. But more importantly, he would cement himself as at least in the discussion for the best American-born player. Certainly, certainly would have a claim of, why can't I be in the discussion for best player, period? He would at least, if someone said it, it would be hard to be like totally dismissed.
You put him on a statue watch?
Yeah, absolutely.
In Boston?
In Boston. You know, guys, Boston, we'll talk about Boston more in a moment. And at number 1, Luka Doncic, who I do think would become the face of the league. I do. I think that he has, even though he's an international player, I think he has enough almost American swagger and trash talking to where people are. And so he's polarizing, which a lot of the international players aren't. People feel very strongly about him in either direction. I think he would get a really legitimate claim to best player alive. He would have one of the best starts to a superstar's career ever, and he would become the overwhelming favorite to win MVP next season before a game is even played.
Yep.
That is the most to gain list.
That's a good list. That's a good list. I will add this for Tatum, and I know I'm not going to go too much into it, but if they win, Nick, legitimate chance of winning MVP next year.
Oh, yeah.
Legitimate. I mean,
well,
he's
similar
really
like
in
Luka.
that discussion.
Yep, sure.
Yep. I thought I remembered the guy at number 4 picking the Lakers, but I don't.
You
know.
don't.
Maybe I'm
Find
older.
the
Maybe
tape.
my memory's
You
not
don't
what it
remember
to be.
that.
I like Missoula because you're right. Like, I mean, he's a guy that I said if they don't win the East, he should get fired. Yeah. But you're right. He will all that analytic stuff he talks about and all that, he will be viewed. I think Nick he'll be a made man. And he will be viewed. I don't think he'll go the route of Vogel and Budenholzer and all these coaches that have won championships, Nick Nurse, and gotten fired. I think he'll almost be like unfireable for at least for a while because he's so young. Yep. And people will look at him as a great coach. But I'm going to add Jason Kidd. Jason Kidd would become not the only like great player to win a championship as a coach, but all the other ones, Bill Sharman, who was way back, Tommy Heinsohn, way back, Billy Cunningham in the 80s with the 83 Lakers. Now, he was a really great player.
83 Sixers?
83 Sixers, I'm sorry. Was a great player in his own right, just as a player. And Bill Russell, of course, won it as a player coach. But I think Jason Kidd is better than all of those guys and is recognized as an all-time great point guard. And we've gotten to the point where we say you can't be a great Jerry West, Magic Johnson. Yep. Bird was good, but he did it very briefly.
Well, that works in Redick's favor.
Right. They usually it's the mediocre players that become great coaches. But this would be big for Jay Kidd.
So just real quick, so I initially had Jay Kidd on the list, and then I thought about it, and I'm like, you know what? I think he's already now considered a great coach. Not an all-time great coach, but since they're underdogs and they've overachieved, even if they lose, I think when most people are talking about who are the 5 best coaches in the NBA, he's on that list now already because of the job he's done in Dallas, because of getting the best out of Kyrie, the relationship with Luka. So I just think he's already gained a lot of it, but that's a fair one. I thought he
all-time great player.
All right, I like Tatum on this most to gain list. I did want to take, because we're about to do most to lose, and I got someone totally in my ear, like Tatum's not on the most to lose list. If Tatum lost this finals, this is the list of people he would gain. Now, it's a very complimentary list that Josh made. If you lose your first 2 finals appearances, these are the players on the top 75 anniversary team, but these guys no, they didn't end up winning because Carmelo.
Most of them didn't.
You would end up on this list. Now, they're great players, but it's not necessarily a list you want to be on with Karl Malone, although some of them won championships.
And hold on, only LeBron on this list won a title as the best player.
Yeah, everyone kind of grabs one.
Dr. J was great, but Moses was the best. Jerry wasn't the best player at that point. Do you think he was?
It's arguable because Wilt only averaged 14, but he got 19.
Clyde clearly wasn't.
So it's weird. It's like the window's closed, but Tatum's
he's
super
26.
Young. It's just an
But
odd
you are
list.
right, Nick. Everybody else.
Or either ended with 0 rings or they weren't the clear-cut best guy, and so it is a weird spot.
But he's only 26. I think he'd be fine.
He
would get crushed. You don't think he'd get crushed?
I don't see. Here's the thing. I think this is the benefit of where he is in the conversation. The downside is we don't talk about Jayson Tatum. He's the best player in the world. The benefit is if they lose, it's not a referendum. referendum.
You can't play poorly, though.
No,
If they
well,
lose
that
and play
part-
poorly,
But
that-
if they
play
lose,
poorly.
you don't think the question of can he be the best player on the championship team will still be
Yes,
there, and
because
probably
it should
louder
be.
than ever.
Yeah, but I think if you go into this final, you're right. If he plays terribly, it's one thing. But if he plays fine and they lose, you thought beforehand he was the 6th best player in the league. You're still going to think he's about the 6th. You know what I mean? Like,
Be tough.
But now,
Yeah, if he plays-
I honestly just do most to gain so I can do this list.
Sure.
The most to lose. This is just 5. Number 5, Jerry Jones. What do I mean? Well, since the Cowboys have last been to a conference championship, the Dallas Stars have won a Stanley Cup and been to 3 Stanley Cup finals. The Texas Rangers have won a World Series and been to 3 World Series. The Dallas Mavericks have won a LOB, Larry O'Brien, and been to 3 finals. This would be their second one. Dallas become 4th place in their own city, maybe. Number 4, obnoxious Boston fans. Hey, Boston fans, most of you watching, you did all your winning before you were born. Since the fall of the Berlin Wall, you're tied with the Toronto Raptors, the Denver Nuggets, and the Cleveland Cavaliers with 1 title. Since the merger, you have 4, which is nice, but not exactly title town status. If you end up losing this one, you know who you're closer to? Not the Lakers. The Buffalo Bills of the 90s. You're just banging on the door, this Celtics iteration. Number 3, Joe Mass, right back on Bru's hot seat. Bruce said it. I'm telling you right now, we are giving him all those plaudits. You lose this series as a big favorite, especially if you lose it in short order. You go into next year on Bru's hot seat. There's nothing you can do about it. Number 2, old KW.
What'd I do?
Bro, we're going to have to check the archives. Has anyone ever loudly, strongly been dead wrong about 3 series in a row like this?
3 in a row?
No one's beating Denver.
Yeah.
Well, the Timberwolves are beating the Mavs, and the Celtics are beating the Mavs. Like, are you like you're
I wasn't going
your
hard for
NBA
Minnesota.
champion?
I
Your
wasn't going
NBA
hard for
champion keeps getting knocked off.
I don't think you went that hard for Minnesota, but you went hard enough for Denver and Boston that it
exactly right. And at number 1, sorry, Nikola Jokic.
What do you do?
Wow.
Would this be the shortest universal best player alive stint ever? Maybe. Some are saying.
No one's saying.
Some are saying. He held it for less than 12 months, possibly. He didn't universally have it over Giannis until last finals. If Luka wins it, he doesn't universally have it anymore. We'll check the title belt standings. It could be the
how long
shortest
did
tenure
Giannis
ever.
hold it?
People are
held it for like
This
2
era
years.
is just
People are saying Buster Douglas. Who knows?
year to year.
That's what I'm
Oh,
saying.
stop.
Giannis comeback season. I want to be early
Exactly.
on Giannis comeback
There you
season.
go.
That's your
Bring the
guy
deer
next
back.
Okay. Bucks next year. Nobody's beating them in 7.
Wow.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.